This is Ironman country. A mecca for endurance athletes from right around the world, drawn together to see if individually they have what it takes to complete the world's most grueling endurance event. It's been this way since 1983, when just 24 came here for that very first time. Since then, there have been thousands who have stepped up to the starting line at Subaru Ironman Canada. But of course, at one time there was no race in Canada. In fact, there really was no knowledge of what being an Ironman was supposed to be. However, that was destined to change, as thousands of miles away in Hawaii, something was happening that would impact this area forever. You see, a small group of individuals were beginning to meet annually as they tried to settle the argument, once and for all, who is the best athlete? A swimmer, a cyclist, or a runner? And from that simple beginning, the Ironman began. And among those early pioneers, a Canadian, Ron Zalko.
After I finished the first one, I thought that was the most stupid thing I ever did, but then I registered for the next year, so I did two of them, and then I decided, I look at it and say, dads have to come to North America.
The wish list for a new venue required incredible scenery, a beautiful lake, and challenging bike and run courses. But above all, a community ready to embrace a new event. The perfect fit was found in the Thompson-Okanagan region and the city of Penticton. That first year, way back in 1983, 23 men and one woman stood here on the edge of Okanagan Lake, ready to make history.
As the race grew, the enthusiasm in the town grew too. It's always been there. Everyone in town, shop people, the ordinary citizens, everyone wanted to volunteer for Ironman at that time.
By 1986, the number of participants had grown to 348, and they were triathletes from right around the world. They were now coming to Canada. However, it was Rick Hoyt and his father Dick that would leave the biggest impression of all. You see, when Rick Hoyt was born, doctors said he was doomed to a life of darkness. However, Dick Hoyt was determined to give his son a life of enlightenment.
And if people just realize that the people with disabilities are people too.
And by the end of the first decade, the numbers had grown to over 1,000 athletes, as the race became revered by those who came and those that would one day. Hello Canada, Vic Rauter along with Graham Fraser as we watch the athletes now making that familiar walk down to the starting area. One more time, 30 years, the same location, and it has been quite the run for Subaru Ironman Canada here in Penticton. And Graham, your memories, your involvement now nearly 20 years, some wonderful memories, I imagine.
I've seen a lot of things here, but the memories for me are about the 1,200 people growing to almost 3,000 athletes, and to see a community bond with this event, the amount of volunteers that come out. There's over 4,000 volunteers every year.
We're looking for a great race today. A lot of fun. This is my 22nd running here in Penticton. It's the world's best race.
This race is so amazing for so many different reasons. You have the city itself and the people that live here that totally welcome all of the athletes in the race.
I'm seeing a lot of excited people, sort of nerves. You can just sort of feel that they're nervous.
And it is the size of that field that has grown over the years. Exactly 2,500 are here for this one. However, the looks on the faces always the same before a mass start. From the ecstatic to the downright terrified, the countdown is now on.
Yeah, the swim brings the most anxiety for triathletes. I know when I did these things, I'd lie in bed at night thinking about that swim. Are people going to beat me up? What's going to happen? But when you get out of the water, that's when your race starts, and it's a great moment to get out of that water.
And for some, Graham, obviously a zen-like moment, trying to get the mental aspect of their game just right. The time for worrying now has come to an end. The start just moments away. and it's all in the hands of Shiro Ota, the chairman and CEO of Subaru Canada. And with that, we're underway. 3.86 kilometers in the water, followed by a bike ride of 180K, and finally a marathon, 42 kilometers. Total it up, 226 kilometers. That will make you an Ironman if you complete it within 17 hours. Remember now the midnight cutoff. And these two, well, they are the last to enter the water. They draw the line in the sand, they wave to the crowd, and in they go to avoid all that flurry. Now, as for the professionals, well, they began their race 15 minutes ahead of the amateurs. As for favorites, well, neither men's or women's champion is here this year. Last year's men's champion, Jordan Rapp, is here as a spectator, just 2 weeks after winning Ironman New York, and his body hasn't recovered enough to defend.
I think especially with a race being sort of so wide open where you don't look and you say, oh, that's the favorite, that's the person that I have to beat. You think they have to be looking at themselves and saying, when I'm looking around, I can win this race. You know, and I think that belief is a huge part of it. It's being able to use that belief to have a great race, and then also being able to control that belief. You don't need to win the race from the time the cannon goes off, right? You just need to win the race in the last, 2 steps.
I think Jordan's nailed that. The key to this race for these pros is patience. If you go too hard too early, you really blow up in an Ironman. And this is an open field. We don't know who's going to be the leader here. There's no pre-favorite. So the guys who are smart and patient are the guys who will lead at the end.
And Graham, the early leader for the men is from BC. That's Elliot Holtham. Great start for him, first ever Ironman. And then just behind him, keeping him in sight, a guy with lots of Ironman experience, Scott Curry, won the 2005 Canadian long distance title. The lead woman in the pink cap, that's Karen Thibodeau of Vancouver. The American Mackenzie Madison she was third here in 2010. And further back in the white cap, that's Janelle Morrison, and the fact that she's even racing is a miracle in itself. We'll have her incredible story of survival coming up when we return with more from Subaru Ironman Canada on Canada's sports leader, TSN. "2,500 athletes working their way. This is the first of 3 disciplines to make up an Ironman here on Okanagan Lake. The 2012 edition of Subaru Ironman Canada is brought to you by Subaru, confidence in motion. By Power Bar, power to push. And by Timex. Graham, the first of the pros, about to come out of the water. The swim is complete, and now they go through this transition. And then they begin into the mountains, 180 kilometers, a bike ride. How important is this transition?
Well, the transitions aren't overly important in Ironman. You don't blow the race here. It's a long day. But the key thing is to be in a good position in the swim. And like a guy like Scott Curry, if he's in a good spot out of the water, he can push the bike and take their running legs out. That's the only way he can win an Ironman.
All right, we're just looking there at Vancouver's Karen Thibodeau. She is the first woman out of the water.
Yeah, that's a great spot for her, because the nice thing about being out of the water in 55 minutes is you can ease into your bike pace. The women who come out in 110, 105 in that area, they've got to work and play catch up. That's very tough.
So they come out of the water almost together. Elliot Holtham, Chris Bagg, Scott Curry now heading out. Holtham and Bagg are as close as they can get. More transitions. I relate this to pit stops in auto racing. You get into the pits, you get out cleanly. It does a lot for a driver's confidence.
But it's harder than people think, because when you get out of the water and you've been in there for close to an hour, you're using your upper body. All the blood's in your upper body, very little in your legs, because you have a wetsuit, you don't kick much. Then you get out, you stand up, you're a little dizzy, and when you get on the bike and you start pedaling, your legs don't feel good for a while. It takes a while to get your land legs.
It's a frantic kind of place. Now, when we check some of the numbers here, the American Alexis Smith and Canada's Stephanie Ozenbrink, They are 1:30 back of Thibodeau. Her time was 55:41.
But the nice thing is they can work together on the bike, push the pace. When you're out there by yourself, it's hard to set your pace, especially early in a race. So sometimes it's good to have people around you, and you can keep that whole momentum moving for the whole day.
Now you go, where's my bike? What do I do? Where do I go? Is it that kind of confusion at times?
Not really. If the athletes have done their homework, they know the flow and all that type of thing. But again, they don't want to lose any seconds.
And so we're on the course now, and Elliot Holtham, in his first ever Ironman, is your leader. Came out of the water with a 1 second lead over Bag, followed by Curry, Higgin, and Killam. Interesting about Oregon's Mackenzie Madison, who was third a couple of years back, actually went off course in the swim. Her goggles were fogging up, so she finds herself more than 4 minutes back. On the course, Karen Thibodeau clear of everyone else as she works her way around on the second discipline, the 180K bike. And she came out of the water with a 1:30 lead over Smith, followed by Ozenbrink, Madison, and Daladowitz. Currently in 7th place, Janelle Morrison, and it's hard to comprehend what she has endured since she was here 3 years ago. It was a shock to most, especially for Janelle Morrison, in her first professional Ironman race. In fact, her first pro race, period. Here she was, crossing the finish line at the 2009 edition of Subaru Ironman Canada, and she crossed that line in 3rd place. It was a breakthrough moment for a rising Canadian star, and a proud moment for her mom. Just over a year later, supporters had invited her to a spin-a-thon in Calgary, and there was that long drive through the mountains.
I had a strong premonition, whether it was a motherly instinct, I don't know what you'd call it, but I had this instinct something was going to be wrong about this trip. I didn't want her going.
Morrison would never make it to her destination. An oncoming vehicle would cross into her lane, sending her car down an embankment. The damage outside was nothing compared to what happened inside to the driver. Yet Morrison was alive.
I got the call and they said, "This is Kamloops Hospital calling." Well, your heart stops because you're shocked, but yet it's almost like you knew it was going to happen.
I spent about 3.5 hours in the car. The jaws of life finally was able to get me out. I was air evacuated to Kamloops Hospital in ICU, where I was intubated for a week, and where surgeons fixed my broken bones, which started with shattered tibia, shattered femur, broken pelvis, broken ribs, broken arm, fractured vertebrae. My stomach was moved into my chest, my heart was pushed over, I punctured my lung, ruptured my diaphragm.
When Morrison woke up, her mother was right there. What she saw reinforced what she always knew. Her daughter was a fighter.
The minute she could move, I saw her moving her little toe. She was exercising it. I knew right then she has the strength and she will do it. If she wants to do it, she will do it.
And so the road back to Subaru Ironman Canada had begun. There would be challenges and setbacks. Right along the way, there would be numerous surgeries, hours of rehab, things that very few could overcome. However, for Janelle Morrison, making a return here was seldom in doubt.
It symbolizes everything. I mean, this is what I've worked to come back to, and I have been given a second chance to follow my dream.
You know, if your child is happy, you're happy. Watching her start to fulfill that dream will just mean the world to me. And it's already she's won any race, or she doesn't have to prove a thing to me, because all I'm happy about is that she's with us, and that's huge. But Sunday will be just so special because I know how much it means to her, and it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a dream come true, and it's just a miracle.
It really is an incredible story, and great to see her back following her passion. And Janelle has begun to move up. Remember, 7th out of the water, she's now 4th and cutting into the lead. But Morrison is not the only one moving up on the bike. This is Stephanie Ozenbrink of Richmond, BC, over 500 national, international races from her cycling days, and with that pass right there on Thibodaux, she is the new leader. Now, Ozenbrink retired as a pro cyclist back in 2004. These days, she's a triathlete, but also a full-time letter carrier for Canada Post in Vancouver. So 5 days a week, she walks 12K, carrying up to 35 pounds of mail, and that's an interesting way to prepare yourself for being an Ironman. As for American Mackenzie Madison, says she's improved in every discipline, and at the age of 26, hoping to become one of the youngest champions ever.
As far as pressure, that kind of began the instant I finished this race 2 years ago. It was beyond my wildest dreams that I'd even placed top 5. And to be able to run that fast and to execute a race as evenly paced as I did, that was just something that I didn't know I was really capable of, but it confirmed that I was able to do that.
So it's Ozenbrink with the lead. The bike, well, this is the discipline that she just loves, but she has to remember that the marathon is still coming up. Back with the pro men, Richter's Pass is coming up, and yet Elliot Holtham, a rookie at this distance, he continues to lead.
It's pretty fun so far, but a long way to go. So, these guys have a lot more experience than me.
But one person who has all kinds of experience at this distance, Scott Curry, and now he has him in his sights. As they're getting close now to Richter's Pass, and there it is, the move. Curry has taken over the lead.
You know, they've done 40 miles now of flats with a little bit of a tailwind on the way out here. Now they're heading to Richter Pass. Richter Pass is where the race really starts in the bike course. They've got their legs, and if you want to make a move and show who's got some strength, the 6-mile climb up Richter is where they do it.
Look at this, taking it, giving it up, and now taking it right back. Here is Holtham with a move of his own.
What he's going for is a Timex bike preem. Scott's going, you know what, take the preem. I'm here for the win of the race. So he's just going to let him go, and he's not going to waste his legs chasing him down.
All right, you have to explain that for those who don't know. What is a Timex preem?
You know, there's some money for the people who get to the top of the hill. You'll see a Timex set up at the top of Richter. So when they get there, there's just a cash reward for the first one there.
All right, so looking to pick up a little extra coin. Back in the lead is Holtham. Two other men, same plan though. Germany's Christian Brader, second in 2010. And then right behind him in fourth, this is American Chris Bagg, who finished just fourth a year ago.
For an Ironman, you have to be really patient. You have to stick to your plan. You really can't be out there going too deep the whole time. If you do, especially on this course, the first 60K feels so easy, and you can really burn it up and just think you're Superman. But on this course, it's really tricky, and you gotta keep things under control and just wait. I mean, the race really doesn't even start until you're about 130K into the bike, and so you just got to be patient, stay with the group, stick to your plan, try not to do other people's race.
Graham, I hate to sound cynical. It's a cliche you hear from so many athletes, but Bagg has had trouble closing out Ironman races in the past. A little further back, not the start anyone expected for Calgary's Kyle Marcotte. He has been in contention here in the past, but he's been disappointed, finds himself now 9th overall.
And if you look at his body language there, nothing says I'm having a good day. 2 years ago, he ran with Viktor Zamitsev, stride for stride, the guy who won the race. But you know, it's Ironman. If your body's not on, you just can't fake it.
All right, we talked about that Timex preem. Elliot Holtham was able to hold on, grab the money at the top of Richter's Pass. But look, Scott Curry once more on the move, and he is back into the lead. Curry and his run, a question mark.
You know, last year I should have pulled out when my calf was starting to tear, and I didn't realize how significant it was at the time. It is a big question mark in the run. I haven't tested it myself this year.
But they're testing each other now here at Subaru Ironman Canada. Back at the water here at Subaru Ironman Canada as the amateurs are streaming out. It is just one of 3 disciplines they have to complete as they move through the first transition. and then they head away from the city of Penticton and out into the Thompson-Okanagan region. It will take over an hour to get to the first climb. They call this Richter's Pass. And several hours after that to get to the rolling hills, known as the Nine Sisters. And then everyone still has to get over what many consider to be the toughest climb of all, Yellow Lake. It is a 180-kilometer journey, and it's all necessary before the third and final stage, that of course, a marathon. So you've got 2 mountain climbs and 180 kilometers. It all awaits the pros and the amateurs alike.
One of the unique things about Ironman is every athlete, whether you're a pro or amateur, you do the same 180K bike course. I don't think you find that in any other sport.
Hey, Stephanie Ozenbrink is the first of the pro women to reach Richter's Pass. We've heard it said before, this is where the race begins. Do you believe it?
I do believe it because it's a monumental point. You hit that point, you're at the certain distance, you're warmed up, and you're going to go. And now you're getting a read, and the pros get counts from other people on where other pros are. So they know this athlete's 5 back, this one's 2 ahead. So you set your pace accordingly.
Boy, you remember we told you about the American Mackenzie Madison and her problems with foggy goggles. But look at the ride now. She's 90 seconds back of Ozenbrink and has put herself in contention. Meanwhile, North Vancouver's Karen Thibodeau, the leader out of the water, she's fallen 6:30 behind. Further back, Ontario's Paulina Allen, Janelle Morrison, working off each other, 10 minutes behind, and they'll likely be much further back by the end of the bike. Jillian Clayton from Vancouver, she gave up 8 minutes in the water. She's staying in touch, though, with most of the other women. But again, Ozenbrink is really putting the pressure on all those women riders.
And Ozenbrink comes from the cycling world. She's represented Canada at many world events. So the other triathletes know that, and they're probably going, yeah, but she's not really a runner. She may not be a triathlete yet, so they're not going to pay that much attention to her.
How do you like the support that all the riders get as you try to fight your way up here Richter's Pass? Now, we move back to the men, and Scott Curry. For him, he knows he has to leave off the bike if he's going to have a chance. We know that his marathon is not that strong.
Well, Scott, it's not that his marathon's not strong. He's been injured, and when you can't do the training, you can't do the race. So he knows that going into this. He's going to push on the bike and hope he can do the run.
This still has to be a big surprise, the fact that he's a rookie at the Ironman distance, but Elliot Holtham continues to be in second. But he does know there are 2 very experienced riders not far behind, and here they are, the American Christopher Bagg, and then in blue, over his right shoulder, there is the German Christian Brader, and they've been riding together and helping each other out, really.
And it is good to help each other out, and they've got experience. In the last couple of years, they've had a 4th and a 2nd between the 2 of them, so they know the course, they know Yellow Lake's coming, they know the pace. They also know that they're within 2.5 minutes of the lead, so there's no panic mode here. They want to keep a steady pace, work together, and not let Scott Curry get too far ahead.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're out at the halfway distance. One goes inside, one goes outside. How much is patience part of this?
Patience is everything in Ironman, and that's the thing. You can't let other guys dictate your race. You've got to push your own pace. So if Scott Curry just bolts it, sometimes you got to go, you know what? Let him burn himself out. We'll do the run on.
Boy, the countryside is beautiful here at Subaru Ironman Canada. Welcome back to the 30th anniversary of Subaru Ironman Canada.
I'm getting ready to do some climbing here. Your legs are feeling pretty good.
The amateurs now taking their turn up Richter's Pass, and it is just one of many features that make up this 180-kilometer course that travels its way through the Thompson-Okanagan region and eventually back to Penticton. We're not even 4 hours into what for some will take as much as 17 hours to complete.
It's a good hill. We'll get there.
There are lots of challenges to overcome. Some you can prepare for, others, well, you just have to deal with them as they come up.
Got a flat already.
There is still so much left to come, and some of it will be unknown. The 2012 edition of Subaru Ironman Canada is brought to you by Subaru. Confidence in motion. By Centurion Cycling. And by Cervelo. Well, she took the lead early into this 180-kilometer bike ride, held on to it ever since. Richmond, BC's Stephanie Ozenbrink being escorted up Yellow Lake. It's the final climb before the final downhill section back to Penticton. Second place, that's the American Mackenzie Madison, and she's stayed 90 seconds back of Ozenbrink throughout. That's pretty good.
You know what? She's right where she wants to be. She's only 26, but at 24, she ran a just over 3-hour marathon here. And that, to me, would make her the favorite. You know, when you get off that bike and you've got a 3-hour marathon, everyone knows that.
Meanwhile, Karen Thibodeau, the leader out of the water, remember, still in third place, but she is 13 minutes back. Janelle Morrison continues to defy the odds. Remember, this is her return to Ironman racing, currently fourth. One doctor told her she would never race as a pro again, but of course she has a different plan. Jillian Clayton has moved up into fifth. She is 15 minutes back. Still, these women know that Ozenbrink does not have a great run resume to match her cycling skills. But Madison, well, she has a very big concern. The American Mackenzie Madison is in trouble on the bike.
I need tech support.
She has a flat tire, Graham, and that's why she's calling out for tech support, yet she continues to push on.
You know, and I don't understand this because, you know, any triathlete that's prepared, you have your spares, you stop, you change that tire. I mean, a seasoned athlete changes that in 3 minutes. There's no reason to be riding in on a flat tire. Her legs are going to just be torched after this.
Hey, look at this. Janelle Morrison with a pass now on Karen Thibodeau. Morrison is now third. All right, first of the men has gotten into the transition area. They're going to go from bike to the run. And Calgary's Scott Curry is in. He wanted to lead getting off the bike, and he has it by 1:42 over Elliot Holtham. Is it a good position? Is it a great position for Curry?
You know, I would say it's a decent position. I think 142 is not a big deficit. And Scott really has never put together a good run when he's healthy. So he's coming to this one not healthy. So I don't think the other guys are looking at who's in front, but maybe who's coming from behind.
All right, so there he goes. Curry on his way out. Remembering now, 42.2K to go. Transition again. This is Christopher Bagg, the American. Great final push as he broke away from Brader. So the deficit for him is 3 minutes.
You know, again, the transition's not overly important when you get off the bike. The key thing is how quick you can get your legs going. And if your legs feel not bad, to hold yourself back. It comes back to patience again.
You know, I just want to draw your attention here. Remember now that Brader in the blue was so close, but he's fallen back, and coming into position there is Ole Piggin from New Zealand. So as they head out on the run, 1:42 the difference, Holtham to Curry. Bagg has separated from himself from Piggin and Brader. So the question is, and that blue now, of course, that's the German Brader. Did Curry get the lead he was hoping for?
Well, I think Scott just got to stick to the pace he plans, and he knows what his fitness is, and it'll play out whatever it is.
Still a long way to go here at Subaru Ironman Canada. Welcome back to the 30th running of Subaru Ironman Canada. And people expected an incredible ride from former pro cyclist Stephanie Ozenbrink, and she has delivered. Her average speed, 35 kilometers an hour. Meanwhile, for the American Mackenzie Madison.
Hey, she needs tech. You guys got a radio.
Remember now, her average speed has fallen. She picked up that flat very early in the bike. And closing in all the time, Graham, Janelle Morrison.
You know, the sad thing for Madison, she's lost about 12 minutes of time with this flat tire. Plus, she's killed her legs. That's a crucial mistake, because if you take the 3 minutes and fix it, you're in the race. So, you know, that's part of her experience, but it will change it for this day and how the other women will run.
And it might change the way people think about the way they prepare, not just for front wheels, but back as well. Now, Ozenbrink is already out on the marathon, a double-digit lead. But the reality is, this is only her second Ironman. Her first Ironman, she was sixth, and she was nearly 3 hours and 50 minutes completing the marathon portion. So she's going to need a dramatic improvement, don't you think?
Yeah, but 6 for a first-year Ironman, or first-time Ironman is a good accomplishment. She gained some experience. She probably knew how to do the bike a little better. And, you never underestimate a pro athlete. Like, no one really knows how her run training's been this year.
Okay, you look at Mackenzie Madison. I mean, visibly upset, and you can't imagine how she feels. And here comes Janelle Morrison, looking more composed, smooth, as she heads out onto the marathon, all the while trying to chase down Stephanie Ozenbrink, and you wonder if anybody is going to be able to do that.
Well, time will tell. Again, 26.2 miles, anything can happen. It's all about patience and pacing.
So Stephanie Ozenbrink with a huge lead by more than 15 minutes over Mackenzie Madison, who suffered through that flat tire, followed by Morrison, Clayton, and remember, Thibodeau was the leader out of the water. Graham, with the men now on the run, Scott Curry from Calgary. Had a great ride, had the lead he wanted, but he's going to lose it right here because from Portland, Chris Bagg has already gotten by Elliot Holtham and now goes by Curry for first place. So that bike, not enough for Curry.
And it wasn't, but again, Scott came in here and he had good intentions. He really wanted to win this race. His heart's there, his determination's there, but when you've been injured and you can't run, I've never seen anybody in history fake this sport. Either it works or it doesn't. You have to be on with your body.
So Bagg has now moved out in front. Remember, at the transition, bike to the run, he was 2:57 behind, and he's made it up. And look at putting distance now between himself and Curry.
Yeah, and the key thing for him is look at the guys running in behind. These guys are moving. To win an Ironman from the men, you've got to run a mid-250 marathon, and you know what pace that is. So again, run your own pace, set your plans, and make the other guys push themselves hard.
Now we should tell everybody as well, Graham, that this New Zealander, this Kiwi, Oldie Piggin, does now live and train here in Penticton. And with this unscheduled stop by Elliot Holtham, Piggin has now moved into third place. Advantage to be running at home?
Oh, absolutely. When you know the course, it always seems a little shorter. You know the checkpoints, you know the undulations, you know where the headwinds will be. It actually makes it a little easier.
Well, facing some headwinds currently is our second place runner, Curry, and look at who's going to reel him in. Here he goes, Oldie Piggin into second place. And right behind him, someone we've not seen before. From Scottsdale, Arizona, this is an American, Matthew Russell. And further back, Brader and Holtham are there too. So he's already gotten by a couple of the early leaders. This former steeplechaser who only took up swimming and triathlon in 2010, and here he is now in third place. Moving through the field, only Piggin, not that far up the road either.
And the thing about him is he did an Ironman 6 days ago in Mount Tremblant, Quebec. So, he's going at a wicked pace here. So we'll see if his legs can hold up because, you don't recuperate that quick, but there's a lot of mental toughness in this guy.
All right, Piggin currently in second place, looking good. Problem is, though, that Russell just that much better. And here he goes. Another pass. And I love this. Sometimes they'll check each other out. There's no acknowledgement this time.
No, absolutely not. It's a mission, and he looks great. He's got a beautiful running form. Ironically, he actually is dressed like a runner. And when I see a guy like that who dresses like a runner, takes off the triathlon gear, he's saying, I'm a runner.
Meanwhile, Christopher Bagg, all alone out in front. His advantage, 2 minutes. If he puts down the run, he'll be tough to beat. Since 1983, there have been a lot of memorable moments at Subaru Ironman Canada. Thousands have crossed this iconic finish line, and they are among those that forever can call themselves an Ironman. However, the one constant over all the years, the volunteer army. In fact, they actually outnumber the athletes. 4,500 are spread across the course doing countless jobs for the athletes. Some have been here all 30 years doing what they can do to help.
Wheel axle was too far forward.
You're on. Thank you very much.
Good to go. That's great. Enjoy the rest of the ride. But yeah, we got a lot of sweaty hugs today.
And they began arriving before the very first athletes do. And some will be here after the official last finishers at midnight.
After you do it for however many years, then you just want to give back. to thank all of the people that volunteered when we were doing it as well.
And to many, they truly are the spirit of the race.
The athletes get so charged up by the energy of the volunteers.
All right, now!
And the entertainment and the encouragement from the aid stations just kind of carries us through the day.
A perfect day at Subaru Ironman Canada, here in the Thompson, Okanagan region. And there's no stifling heat as we've had in past years, Graham. There is a wind. However, nothing compared to what athletes have had to endure over the previous years. Stephanie Ozenbrink finding conditions just perfect as she continues to lead, although the 15-minute advantage she had to start the run is now down to less than 10 minutes with more than half of the marathon remaining. Now, as for Mackenzie Madison, she came here believing she could become one of the youngest Ironman champions ever at the age of 26. But remember, she rode 30 kilometers on a flat, and that's put it in doubt, Graham.
Yeah, and you know, don't underestimate the emotional damage that does. That just wears you and tires you. So she's had a tough day already.
And well, it gets even tougher now, doesn't it? Look at this. As closing in, Janelle Morrison, the Canadian, now into second place. An amazing story that she is closing in on the leader as well. Incredible.
Now look at her running stride. I mean, she is so far back out of the water. She's made up the time on the bike, and she's running better than any woman out there right now. But again, it's early in the run. She better pace.
And look at, she's not the only one on the move. This is Jillian Clayton. Suddenly, the top three as well as she moves by Madison. She has done 5 Ironmans, but this is her first as a pro.
You know, and that's great for her. And again, be steady. She was 15 minutes back at one point in the bike, so she's made up a lot of time.
You feel a little bit bad for Madison. You had said earlier that she had destroyed her legs by riding on the flat. How did she destroy them?
Well, you know, your wheels don't roll. The tires have no speed, so you have to dig harder to keep the pace up. You want to keep the same pace. If you got to work another 20% harder, it takes a lot out of you.
And really here, she's just down to a jog now as North Vancouver's Karen Thibodeau goes by her into 4th place. So 3 women all within sight of each other, all closing in on the leader, Ozenbrink.
Yeah, and Janelle Morrison, to me, looks like she's running the best here. The other women aren't. Gotta remember, there's no great runners in this field. There's not a Lori Bowden from the past or a Heather Fuhr who everyone knows can run. These are women that anything can happen.
Now, they're all getting times relayed to them to let them know about their splits, how well they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. They know where they are. There's people on the course. So again, you know, it's a pace game. It's knowing the other players. And then you got to read your own body. If you read your body wrong in Ironman, things can change really quick.
All right, so Clayton is closing in on Morrison, and both are gaining on the leader, knowing that the women's portion of Subaru Ironman Canada is still very much in doubt. Meanwhile, he has had the lead of the run now, something American Chris Bagg has never done ever in an Ironman, but look at what's happening. Unwelcome company. This is the American Matthew Russell. Just 6 days ago, you said he was competing in Mont Tremblant, and he is ready to take the lead. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know how you do this 6 days after doing an Ironman. I mean, years ago, nobody would ever do this. Physiologically, someone's going to do some studies today to figure out how you can do these things. But, you know, I'm sure you rested for 6 days, and he jumped in here again. He's on a high. So, you know, you never know.
I have to remember now, his work, though, still not done. He may have gotten by Bagg, but Piggin, Ole Piggin, the New Zealander, is not that far behind. And not that far is now. Look at this. Piggin has got him for 2nd place. And you saw Bagg just look off to his left to say, where did you come from? And now you question if Piggin has anything left to catch the man from Scottsdale, Russell.
Well, there's still a long way to go, and we have a 2-horse race right now. So again,
but look at Bagg. I mean, from being the leader to now walking, how disappointing is that?
You know, it's disappointing, but as a pro athlete, if you want to win, you roll the dice. You have to go for it, and you have a chance of being Bagg like Bagg was. It just happens.
And the man in blue, This is the German, Christian Brader, as a bag has picked it up a little bit, run a little bit. I mean, you see people on the street doing that when they jog. They run a little bit, they walk a little bit. Forced now as Brader to go by. Meanwhile, Stephanie Ozenbrink has led for hours off the strength of an incredible bike. She started the run with a 15-minute advantage, but that is now down to mere seconds. Her pace has slowed dramatically.
Yeah, and that happens. She went for it on the bike. She hasn't got a lot of experience. And Janelle Morrison is putting pressure on her. When you have pressure being put on you, here she goes into second place.
Jillian Clayton is moving quickest of all, though. Here comes Clayton, and Clayton is going to go into second place.
Wow, these two are pushing together. And again, now they're going to catch the lead even quicker because they're pushing each other. So if I'm Ozenbrink up front, you hear them coming.
All right, she was 90 seconds behind Morrison. And now, here's the question mark, Graham. Does she have enough, Clayton, to catch our leader, Ozenbrink?
One thing I liked about her race is she's been steady. She didn't push the bike. Being 15 minutes back might have meant she was smart. She didn't push it. Now she's working her way through the field, and she's feeling really good.
Oh, boy, look at this now, down to a walk at the refreshment station, grabbing something. Here she comes. Look at who's running. Jillian Clayton, 18 and a half minutes behind, and she'll take the lead.
Wow, you know what? That's the special needs area, and you can see she's determined. She ran through the special needs. Ozenbrink's walking, and she ran through it. She doesn't want to leave any time. Now she wants to gap her. She wants to put some time on her so no one comes with her. And Janelle Morrison's making the turn here. So we've got 3 women within 20 seconds here. That's a great race at any Ironman.
All right, so now they're heading back, and so it is Clayton with the lead, Ozenbrink in second for the moment, but appearing that she's about to fade. And here she goes. Janelle Morrison goes into second place. What a great story.
And you know what's going on right now with these women? Adrenaline. The 2 women at the front have adrenaline rushes. They're feeling good. You smell it. You sense the victory you could have. It makes you want to run a little harder.
Oh, there's no sign that Jillian Clayton now is going to slow down as she, as you suggest, putting a little distance between her and the others, trying to pull away. Clayton looks absolutely great. First-year pro, as she heads back towards the finish line with the lead. Meanwhile, Karen Thibodeau from North Vancouver. This triathlete has been in contention all day. She led after the swim, started the run 5th, just 9 seconds behind Clayton, has not been able to stay with the new leader, but she's on the move too, as she goes by Morrison into second place. What a comeback.
Wow, that blows me away because, she fell back on the bike and now she's fighting back. And that's a great women's race. We've got a lot going on here.
And Graham, we said at the very beginning, this was a wide open race. Few would have picked this man to win just 6 days after doing another Ironman. But he does. Arizona's Matthew Russell wins the 30th running of Subaru Ironman Canada.
It's amazing. I had a great day, and it's a great way to celebrate the 30th year. I'm blessed to be here and be the champion today.
And he may come from New Zealand, but to the city of Penticton, he is now local. Ole Piggin came here years ago to race and never left. Ole Piggin is second here in Penticton.
A bit of a solo effort for myself today, and that's the best way to do an Ironman. I went in with the game plan, and I applied it, and the result was on the board. So I'm looking forward to having a couple of beers tonight and probably tomorrow night as well.
And the man in blue from Germany, Christian Brader. 2 years ago, he was runner-up, but today, Graham, the run not there for him. But once again, a podium performance here at Subaru Ironman Canada. And from his reaction, you can tell he has very little left.
What's amazing at an Ironman, these guys get to a finish line, the body shuts down, you get the cramps. I think he's just happy right now, and he's just relieved. This is just one of those relieving moments. He's actually really happy with a third.
Piggin with a hand up. Your champion, time of 8 hours, 48 minutes, 30 seconds from Scottsdale, Matthew Russell, followed by Piggin, Brader, Anthony Toth, the top Canadian, moving up on the run, 4th, Shannon Stollard in 5th place. When we come back, we'll crown the women's champion here at Subaru Ironman Canada. The 2012 edition of Subaru Ironman Canada is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, the City of Penticton, and by the Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association. They have already been at this for longer than a normal workday, yet for some, they are only halfway through this grueling event, and there are so many unexpected things to deal with. Mechanical breakdowns, the weather, taking in enough calories, but always it's fighting the urge to stop that's the biggest battle of all. Sister Madonna Booter heading out on her way as she attempts to increase her record set in 2009 when she became the oldest female Ironman finisher ever in a time of 16 hours and 54 minutes. She wasn't able to complete the bike in her last try. That was 2010. She made the bike distance this time, so she has the marathon now to do. And all the while, the clock continues counting down to midnight, the official cutoff time to become an Ironman, 17 hours after it all began.
I got it. It's a done deal, baby. It's over.
A day of unlikely champions. Jillian Clayton seemed to be out of contention before the bike even began, but that solid bike and the run, and here she is, coming towards the finish line. The Canadian taking the win here at Subaru Ironman Canada.
I know I certainly didn't expect it, but I really wanted it. I had to just breathe a lot of the time and just not get ahead of myself. But in the back of your mind, you're hoping that you can just be on the finish line first, and it's amazing. It's a dream come true. It really is. It's amazing.
A dream come true indeed. And how about the performance of Karen Thibodeau, who gave up the lead on the bike, but she just kept with her plan. Second place for North Vancouver's Thibodeau. It may be a third place finish, but I think for Janelle Morrison, it's safe to say this is a win. Janelle Morrison from Penticton, coming back after that violent crash, left her in hospital 2 years ago to finish third here in her home event. Jillian Clayton is your winner in a time of 9 hours, 46 minutes, 7 seconds, her first ever Ironman win. Mackenzie Madison did not finish. Now the professionals are soon joined at the finish line by the amateurs. All the sacrifices, the early morning swims, 6-hour training rides in all kinds of weather, all to get to this moment. And Graham, we should congratulate the top two amateurs, both of them from Denver, Colorado, Grant Bovey and Kendra Lee. And as daylight now gives way to nighttime, the march continues to the finish line. We have to mention, though, after 30 years, it's all come to an end here in Penticton.
Yeah, and as you see, it's kind of ironic to see the dark, and it is really the end for this event here. It's an event that helped build the sport in North America. It was the original Ironman town. Other Ironman towns were patterned after it, so Penticton's done an awful lot for the sport of track.
And your greatest memory?
I'd say, you know, I've watched my wife and daughter finish this race, and when you see your family come through and what it's done for their life, it's pretty special.
And we're waiting, of course, for 82-year-old Sister Madonna Booter. Look at this. Here she comes. She's done it again. The oldest female Ironman finisher completes the final race here in Penticton. And our final finisher here in Penticton on this 30th anniversary is from San Clemente, California, Kelly Telling, with 5 seconds to spare before the midnight cutoff. And now for Graham Fraser and our entire crew, thank you for being part of 30 memorable years. This is Subaru Ironman Canada on Canada's sports leader, TSN.